Hi everybody, Andy from Snow Camp Shore up here, and in this video we are talking about no more cold hands. If you've watched any of my videos in the past, you'll know that I always complain about having cold hands and extremely cold feet. Well, as of this winter, I no longer have extremely cold hands and extremely cold feet, and it has got nothing to do with any of these gloves. For the past 2 winters, I have been having problems with my quads. I would get halfway down a run and I would start to get cramp in my quads. And a lot of people said, have you got enough magnesium? Are you getting enough magnesium? And I was like, I have no idea. I started at the end of the summer to take magnesium, thinking this would help with the sore quads. And I started to take magnesium. And what I found is that every morning, quite soon after taking the magnesium, I wouldn't be able to get off the toilet. And it was literally flowing out of me, if you get what I mean. And some magnesium can, in fact, act like a laxative. So this is why I couldn't get myself off the toilet. So stopped taking that magnesium and I did a bit more research. Now, remember, at this time, I'm trying to solve my quads from cramping when skiing. Now, I'd thought about lots of different things. Was I hydrated enough? Had I drank too much the night before? Was I eating properly? Were my quads just weak? But typically, I will ride my bike in the summer and I'll condition myself for the winter. And I couldn't put down anything to why my quads were cramping up. And it wasn't anything else. It wasn't like my calves or anything else was cramping up. It was just my quads. So I'm still looking into this magnesium to try and solve the problem with my quads. And then after finding out that one magnesium acts as a laxative, I found out that there were several different magnesiums. And not only do they all do different things, but they are all absorbed differently in the body. And therefore, you would be better to take them with a combination of other vitamins. Now, I am no vitamin expert. I'm not a doctor. I'm not medically trained unless you count a 2-day first aid course 15 years ago. But this is a real life scenario that I'm telling you about. Is my hands and my feet are massively improved. And I can only put it down to what I'm about to show you. And that is not just that I started to take magnesium. I also started to take a couple of other things. So magnesium glycinate was the one that I kind of got led towards because it has a higher absorption rate and it helps with muscle cramps, also helps with other things. It says cognitive improvements and things, right? So magnesium glycinate, but magnesium doesn't get absorbed into the body very easily. And as I wanted to sort out my quads, it needs to get absorbed, okay? Also, what I found out is magnesium doesn't really show up on a blood test because most magnesium lives inside our cells, not in the blood. So if you have a test for magnesium, they can't always say whether or not you've got low levels, insufficient levels, or whatever. But what I found out was that you also need to take it with vitamin D. Now, this is interesting because the year before, the doctor had told me to take vitamin D because I had a vitamin D deficiency. Now, for somebody who is out in the open most of the winter, I was surprised, but then it's predominantly just my face, isn't it? Because everything else is covered up. And then in the summers, I'm inside a kitchen in our restaurant. So I could understand I needed vitamin D. But then what I found out was, if you take vitamin D alongside magnesium, now you don't have to take them together. You can take this in the morning and this in the night because this also helps with sleep. The vitamin D will increase the amount of glycinate absorbed into the body from about 18% to 86% is what I found out. Now, that isn't, again, me being a trained medical professional, but that's what I have read in all of the different documents and websites and literature that I've read on the two. But then, does that mean the vitamin D is making my hands and feet warmer? Well, probably not, because I was on vitamin D a year ago. Is the magnesium making my hands warmer? Who knows? Because I'm also taking B complex, okay? Now, again, they say if you take D and K3 and B complex with magnesium, the magnesium will work better. Now, first thing is I haven't had any quad cramps. Not since the first week of the season, which was only about 3 weeks after starting to take these. And since then, I've had no quad cramps. So I reckon that's the magnesium. Now, it was the middle of November. It was minus 19 on the glacier, and I would typically have cold hands. I have been wearing this glove for the last 2 or 3 seasons. Black Diamond, minus 20, they market it to. It's going to retain heat to minus 20. It was Gore-Tex. It did 2 seasons. I had cold hands all of the time. And this is supposed to be a warm glove. Now, at the time, I was skiing in this glove, which is a race mitten. It's not very thick. It's leather. It's relatively averagely insulated, I would say. And it was minus 19, and there was a wind, which made it around minus 25. And I was going up the T-bar, and I thought to myself, your hands aren't cold. Why are your hands not cold? And as I say, I wasn't taking this for my hands. I was taking this for my quads, for sore muscles. So why have I not got cold hands? So then I switched to, and this isn't an advert for our glove, but I switched to the Snow Chemtura glove, which is a midway insulated glove. Nowhere near as insulated as this, okay? But with this glove, I always suffered from extremely cold hands. Even in this, I didn't have cold hands. And since then, across most of the season, and I'm now making this video in the middle end of January, where it is actually 10 degrees outside, so it's quite warm. But this season, I have not had cripplingly cold hands, and I can only put it down to this cocktail. Now, if you research each one of these individually, it's most likely the B complex that's doing it. It may be the combination of the 3, but the B complex is most likely to be the reason my hands aren't cold. Now, another thing I will add to this is, last winter, I went and had the nerves checked in my feet because we thought I had nerve damage, and this is why I couldn't feel my feet in ski boots. I was then referred to a rheumatologist to see if I had Raynaud's. Now, my father's got Raynaud's, and it is something that is passed down and therefore hereditary. And I had thought quite often that maybe my feet was Raynaud's. However, I didn't go to that appointment. I just didn't have time. I've still not been. My feet are also massively improved. Now, my feet are still getting a little cold. I'm still getting some of the pain I used to get, but nowhere near as much, even on the coldest of days. And my hands, yes, if I walk the dog in the morning with no gloves on, I can feel the cold, but I'm not getting this crippling cold hand that I used to get, even when wearing this extremely warm glove. So all I can put it down to is the B complex, or the combination of vitamins that I started to take because I was getting muscle cramps. So folks, have you experienced anything that's improved your cold hands? We always talk about gloves, we talk about circulation, we talk about base layers and layering up, keeping the core really warm to keep the extremities warm, because that's the first place that the body takes warmth away to protect the vital organs. Have you taken any of these, and have you seen a positive change? Because I certainly have. And as I've said several times, this was all about trying to stop my quads from cramping up, but it's resulted in the quads are not cramping up. Put that down to the magnesium. My hands are not as cold, anywhere near as cold as they used to be, and neither are my feet, and I'm putting that down to the B complex. And then the vitamin D helps the absorption of the magnesium. If you found that useful, drop us a like, leave a comment below. As I said, I'm not a medical trained professional. If you were going to start taking vitamins, then possibly speak to your doctor, have a blood test first. But I can tell you that this has changed my hands in a very positive way. I no longer have cripplingly cold hands when skiing. And if it's okay, I'm sure it's saying bye for now.